All right, I'm aware everyone in this room chose to talk about financial services marketing instead of listening to Warner Brothers. So I'm going to make this worth your while, which is why you've got a worksheet on your seat or on a seat next to you. You don't have to use this in the room. If you don't want to, you can take it home. It's really up to you. But I just want to make sure that this is a really practical 20-minute session, and I want everyone sat here today to walk away with at least one idea that you can take back to your team. So my name's Alex Malley, as Rich said. I'm the Associate Director for Financial Services Strategy here at Movable Inc. And that means I get to spend most of my time researching what's going on in the industry and supporting our clients really put their best foot forward when it comes to their marketing strategy. For this session, we are going to cover two key themes, and we're going to work through a 2023 framework. Now, whether you're taking this sheet as a kind of take back to your teams, take it home, or whether you're using it in this session, it's still going to be most beneficial for you to think of a customer in mind. So on the sheet, you can write down their name. This is a single customer. Write down perhaps their home situation. Do they have a mortgage? Are they renting? Maybe they don't have a fixed address. Write down their age, and then also write down their favorite film or TV show. And I really want you to keep this customer in mind as we move through the next 20 minutes. So the first challenge is that the best indicator of the future is the past. And so what we're going to do initially is think about what's been happening in recent volatile times as we know we're going to expect in 2023. This slide is a stats attack. I apologize, it's not all going to be like this, but just to walk you through, I think some of this will really ring true, particularly in the retail banking space as we think about 2023. So thinking about the financial crisis in 2008 and then the following years in 2011, we saw some really key stats come out. So unemployment reached a rate of 8.4%, which was the highest at the time since 1995. Real earnings fell by 2.5%, and we saw a really volatile situation in terms of mortgages and savings. So as an example, a 2-year fixed in 2008 was around 6%, and then in 2011, it dropped down to 3.6%. The savings rate trend really followed that. So in 2008, it was quite high at 5.09%, and then it dropped to 2.75%. Now, I deliberately don't have the rates for today on this screen because I knew they were going to change by the time we leave this room. But it's no surprise to anyone here that they're going up and down, respectively, pretty constantly. So what I want us to think about is how financial services marketers really reacted in this time and how they supported their customers. The first way is innovation, and the second way is price. So thinking about innovation, what you can see on the screen here is a welcome hamper from Nationwide. And this was in response to when customers complete on their mortgage. So it really set the tone for elevating that high-touch experience in a really challenging time post-2008. And if you're sad like me, you can also find forums online where they're still comparing welcome hampers today from various mortgages providers. So do check that out, should you wish to. The second, of course, is price. Now, price is a no-brainer. Clearly, we want to be looking at getting to the top of those best buy tables, but I really enjoyed finding this from the archive. So this is a 2011 Money Saving Expert headline. It talks about Northern Rock and their market-leading 4% rate for savings at the time. And this was pulled based on it being so popular and oversubscribed. And during this period of time, you might remember that Northern Rock had been nationalised, and this was before Virgin Money won the bid to rebrand the bank. So if you're using your sheet today, or if you want to think about it to take it back home with you, what would your customer find most beneficial in 2023? Would it be price or would it be innovation? And as you have that single customer in mind, what comes to mind as an example? I'll give you a couple of seconds and then I'll move on to the next section. All right, so bringing that innovation and that price to life with a digital marketing lens, you can see the first example here is bringing that welcome hamper into a digital space. So this is a scratch off where you can scratch and reveal something behind, whether that's on your phone or using your cursor on your computer. And in this example, we're sharing a welcome gift for Uber Eats, a night in on us. On the other side of the screen, you can see price, and this is really thinking about how we know rates are changing very rapidly over the next year or so. The first example is an example from Synchrony, which is a US brand. In this example, we paired their rate with our live weather app. So this was for a rainy day savings campaign, and bringing in that contextual data prompted really strong results with a 40% uplift in click-through rate. The other example under price that you can see on the screen is really bringing through live pricing. So this could use an API or it could use web crops. This example is mortgage rates, but you could see how that could flow through savings and other things as well. And this brand were really able to not only save a huge amount of time in rates changing very, very quickly, but they also saw an uplift in applications. So we were able to timestamp when that rate was valid, so customers really knew it was fully up to date. So, sticking with our first challenge, the best indicator of the future is the past. We're now going to go to more recent memory in the pandemic, 2020 and 2021. And during this time, we saw that 31% of UK households had a decrease in income, and a huge 1.3 million households accepted the payment deferral scheme initiated within the first 3 months. So we know that financial services providers had to act really quickly in this time and really showed up to support their customers. But on the flip side, we also saw in the investment space lots of new customers coming into the fray, amongst other things, investing their saved commuting costs. So Free Trade shared some stats here that 55% of their new customers at this time were new to investments altogether. And clearly the requirement for those new to investment customers is very different to those that might be used to investing. So support, again, is really important for them. Moving to the right-hand side in the loyalty space, we saw financial services providers really step up here when it came to loyalty. We know that spending habits changed, we know that they moved away from travel and other things, and we know that they moved towards that wellness boom that we're all so familiar with and we saw all over our Instagrams. But it's not just about the spend that our customers changed. It was really how they were looking to their financial services providers for more support and more opportunity to make sure their financial health was in order. I really love the example, it's not on this slide, but American Express brought through the Calm app as an additional benefit in 2020 in the UK, which I thought was a great example of pivoting rewards and loyalty. So again, if you're looking at your worksheet today or if you want to take it back as an additional thought, what did that customer need during COVID? And what do you think will drive their loyalty as we think about next year? And again, as you gather your thoughts, just to bring this in line with our digital marketing toolkit, there are lots of ways that we can really bring this to life, leveraging Movable Ink. So we know that policies and fees can change really rapidly. This first example underneath support is our live way of bringing in banners post-send, so information is fully up to date when that customer reads their email. The second example under support is really chaperoning the customer through that onboarding journey. So leveraging data visualization as a way to pinpoint where they are and the other steps that they might need to take. And I love this SoFi example that's on the screen. Then thinking about loyalty, it's really a no-brainer to reinforce rewards and bring that in real time. And you can see that first example here. The other way we can bring through rewards is really using merchant offers. So whether you have an API for offers from retailers that you might be affiliated with, we can again bring that through in real time. And to meet the exacting needs of our customer, we might use zero-party data to poll them and understand what they want to see in terms of their offers. So that's our first challenge, looking at the past to really think about the future. It's uncovered themes in terms of price, innovation, support, and loyalty. And for the second challenge, we're going to flip the script a little bit and consider that the best way to predict the future is to create it. So for this first example, quick hands up, who is in financial services here? And okay, about half. If you're not in financial services, I'll just explain this phenomenon to you. So within financial services, particularly in retail banking, there is a real strive to be what we call top of wallet. And what that means is effectively top of mind. So if you think about a strategy to do that, you might have a flashy card that you present at the end of dinner. You might have a really strong rewards program. And what that's doing is really encouraging that customer to think about choosing your card out of all of the cards you might have in your wallet first. Now, there are lots of ways to do this, as I mentioned, but I just wanted to share one with you. A while ago, many traditional brands, it was about 10 years ago, got obsessed with changing the colour of the card, the in-between bit. So M&S had bright green and Nationwide had red. And if you have one of those in your wallet, that was my project when I was a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed grad many, many years ago. So I wanted to share this example with you on the screen, which is from Taiwan, and I just love how they've decided to create the future here. So EasyCard, which is a brand out there, have really taken on the anime series, which is a 90s classic called Sailor Moon. And in Sailor Moon, there is a wand within that feature, and they've created that wand. It's 18 centimeters long, and they've turned it into their tap to pay card. And I just love the idea of people tapping to pay on the tube with a wand. And I was thinking about this, and I feel like there's something in this. I feel like this might be the return to office that CEOs around the world have really been looking for. The second side is technology. So we know that banking as a service has really transformed the speed to market at which financial services brands can meet their customers. So we have brands like 11S Foundry, Starling, Clearbank, really paving the way for people to get digital-first communications really, really quickly. And this means that incumbent brands are looking around and thinking, wow, how do I get there that fast? So as you look down at your sheet as part of Challenge 2, what could be a brand new way to reach your customer in 2023? And what are your customers' technology expectations as you think about next year? And as you start finishing that off, I'm going to bring this to life when it comes to our digital marketing channels. So I absolutely can't promise you a magic wand, but I can promise you an underutilized channel, personalized SMS. So we can now bring this into a personalized way in the same way that we do across email and mobile, bringing that to life for customers across an omnichannel experience. And this is really important at the moment. So we know that 91% of customers are really open to seeing SMS as part of their communications with their favorite brands. We also know that SMS has the opportunity to create 4 times the amount of revenue compared to an equivalent email. And with that, we find that 73% of marketers right now are rethinking their marketing strategies to bring SMS into the fold. On the right-hand side, in terms of technology, I mentioned before around banking as a service, really changing the pace that financial services providers are expected to go digital first. But you don't have to be underpinned by banking as a service to really bring in some efficient data that reinforces value back to the customer. This mobile example brings in lots of complex data points across over 1 million records, and it does this with a CSV file. So a really straightforward way to up-level your digital marketing strategy. And then finally, the final part of Challenge 2 is social and environmental. So we know that social aspects are incredibly important across many brands right now, including financial services. We hear phrases like financial well-being and financial inclusion, and it's top of mind more than ever. I love this example from Your Juno. So Your Juno is an app which is specifically designed for cis women and non-binary people to learn more about investments and start investing. The founders, Alexia and Margot, describe this as the Duolingo for money. So in the app, which is free to download, you'll find events, masterclasses. They also host live in-person events to really address this underserved population. And then on the right-hand side, in terms of ESG, so environmental, social, and governance, it's often the E that gets the most airtime. Now, Movable Inc., in collaboration with London Research, ran a report earlier this year, and we spoke to a whole host of senior leaders in the financial services marketing space. And I think Mark Evans said it best, and you probably can't see on this screen, but he's the marketing and digital MD at Direct Line. And he described how the environmental issue sometimes feels more important to the executive committee or the ExCo board than it does perhaps to customers and how they're spending today. And I think he's right. But what Direct Line are doing is they're still right-fitting their products to meet that customer need for tomorrow with lots of green insurance products available. You can also see Tomorrow on the slide here. Tomorrow is a fintech brand which I think is leading with a sustainable first challenge within financial services. And I think it's often our colleagues in Europe who are really leading the way. So Klarna, as an example, was one of the first brands to put a CO2 tracker in their app. So what social experiences might your customer be looking for in 2023? And what impact on the environment might your customer be thinking about next year? And as you finish those off, I'm going to bring this to life. So I really like this example from Eventbrite. It's not financial services, but the reason I've included it is I think it encompasses the social aspect really well. So you might have a goal to really increase your donations from a charity perspective. It might be bringing certain groups of people together. And what this email does is it sends to its creators the number of people they've brought together, the number of events they've run, and perhaps even the amount of money they've raised or the revenue they've seen. On the right-hand side, from an environmental perspective, we can see that this Refer a Friend program for Incredible Financial has been paired with the planet instead of the person. So for every friend referred, this brand agrees to plant 10 trees. And it's also asked the customer to set their goal for how many trees they want to plant that year. And this customer is just 10% towards their goal, but tracking well. All right. So at lightning speed, we've gone through 2 challenges. We've reviewed the past. We've looked at price and innovation and how that might impact our plans next year. We've looked at support and loyalty to think about what that means for 2023 and beyond. And then we've flipped the script a little bit and we've looked at how we might create the future. We've observed trends in technology, servicing, and the social and environmental aspect as well. I really hope you've taken an idea from this session. 20 minutes is a really short amount of time. I'd love to spend an afternoon with you guys, and myself and my wider strategy team would be really happy to have a conversation with you about that. Thank you very much.